While sorting through some old boxes of miscellaneous terrain and assorted and mostly broken models, I came across a few pieces of Benji's Hobbies history. Some of the very first models that I owned and painted. Little did I know 20 years ago that these little guys would have such a huge impact on my life. So let's take a trip down memory lane and take a closer look at them. I'm Benji and welcome to Benji's Hobbies. My miniature painting journey started almost 20 years ago, and back then I had no idea how big a part of my life miniatures, miniature painting and the hobby would become. Now I have a few people to blame for this, and without them I wouldn't be sat here painting miniatures and making videos today. Aled, one of my best friends from school and who continues to be to this day, introduced me to this little game called the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game that came in a big green box and had loads of little models of elves and goblins in it. Having fallen in love with The Lord of the Rings after watching The Fellowship of the Ring at the cinema, I knew that I wanted in on this amazing magical game. But with limited pocket money and Games Workshop models being subjectively expensive to 13-year-old me, my involvement was limited to playing with Aled's models. That is, until I picked up my own set of goblins alongside the Battle Games in Middle-earth magazine. Now, Battle Games in Middle-earth was the single best partwork magazine that has ever been produced, and I'm willing to fight anybody who says otherwise. It included a magazine, occasionally some tiny pots of paint, and either a sprue of minis or a single metal miniature with each issue. The best part? The very first issue contained a batch of 12 goblins, some paint, and a paintbrush for the bargain price of only £1.99, and so started my mini painting and collecting career. Now the included paints were these tiny thimble-sized pots, and the brush was pretty rubbish compared to what I have at my disposal these days, but I didn't let that stop me slapping on some base coats on my goblins. Goblin green skin, blood red cloth and mithril silver armour were the order of the day, and by today's standards they do look pretty garish. Back then, shade paints didn't really exist either, and I think my mini horde of goblins could have really done with a coat of liquid talent to tone them down just a little bit. After my first round of painting, and once my paint collection had increased a little, I did revisit them to give them these big yellow eyes, which to me at the time were the epitome of what a good painter could achieve. I also did my very first conversions on these miniatures, replacing one of my goblin swords with a banner that I crudely made out of some card. It had zero use in game, but I thought he looked cool, so just went with it. Looking at these old models has really filled me with a sense of nostalgia, and one day I'd love to revisit these and paint some more to fill out a new army. And oh god damn it, why do people always ring me when I'm trying to record voiceovers? Oh, it's Michael from Nat One Videos wanting to video call. I wonder what he could want. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? A bit of a random one for you. I'm actually phoning for a little bit of help, if possible.
Go for it, hit me. What can I do for you?
So I've just finished up painting my Fellowship minis. It's part of a project I'm doing. I'm making Balance Tomb at the minute. And I was going to paint some Moria Goblins and a Troll. But man, I'm basically way behind on my build, and there's no way I'm ever going to get that done as well. And I was wondering if you maybe fancy painting some minis for me.
Sounds like an awesome project. I've got some really badly painted ones here, but this is a great opportunity for me to pick up some fresh ones and give them a brand new paint job. So yeah, count me in.
That'd be awesome, man. Cool.
No worries. Catch up with you soon, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay, so with this amazing project on the cards, it looks like my chance to repaint some new goblins has come a little sooner than I had planned, and what a great reason to paint some more up. So with my new batch of goblins, I want to give them an updated paint job compared to what I gave them all those years ago, but I still want to retain some of those notable features from my old goblins. I have a much better assortment of paint and better quality brushes at hand now, so this should be a pretty straightforward job. As well as the plastic goblins, I've had a dig through my bits box and found this unopened pack of metal goblins, so what better time to break these open? I've also got a few more bits and pieces in my big box of shame, which I'm sure I'll end up getting paint on at some point too. After giving them a zenithal prime on the spray stick, it's time to get my paint on. Rather than going for the garish goblin green flesh, I'm going to opt for a more subdued, drab green tone. Being Mind Dwellers, I imagine their skin to be far more pale and sallow than the bright green they're currently painted in. I also really want to tone down the bright shiny armour that I've previously painted. These are mind-dwelling goblins from Moria after all, so I imagine their armour to be rusted and covered in grime from skirmishes with unwary trespassers. So I'm base coating the armour in dark brown before adding silver highlights to some of the most raised edges. I still want the cloth areas to be reminiscent of my old goblins, so I'm still painting these red, but this time it'll be a more subdued, muted red rather than that bright and bold blood red colour. One of the features I'm really keen to keep from my old goblins is those glowing yellow eyes. They were a feature I was so proud of that it feels a shame not to include them on my new ones. Despite the extra time it's taking to paint these extra details, I know it's something that I'm going to be happy with at the end. Last but not least, I think my new goblins need to be based properly, so I'm mounting them on these amazing resin bases from Generation Shift. I've long been a fan of the work that Matt does on these, and I really think that they help tie an army together and help make the miniature pop. With a series of dry brushes and washes, they're painted up in no time. So with my first 12 goblins painted, I think that this might just be the start of a new Middle-earth army. And whilst I was painting these up, I couldn't help but starting to think of some interesting ideas and cool side projects, just like this cave troll. If you'd like to see me build on this army in the future, and if you have some suggestions for some more Moria beasties I could add, then let me know down in the comments below. Side by side, it's pretty evident to see that my painting has moved on at least a little, and I like to think that 13-year-old me would have been suitably impressed with the paint jobs I've given my latest batch of goblins. They are by no means perfect, but they're definitely better than some of my old ones. Now all that's left to do is ship these guys off to Michael for him to use on his amazing Balin's tomb. I've already had a little preview of this amazing book nook he's built, and I can assure you it really is one of the best and most intricate Middle-earth builds I've seen. Just make sure you hang around till the amazing cinematic scenes at the end, where you can see my goblins and cave troll fighting his fellowship. If you're interested in the lore of Balin's tomb, then go and check out the latest video by The Broken Sword. The dudes over at The Broken Sword are creating some of the best Middle-earth lore videos on YouTube, and it's essential listening for getting me in the Middle-earth mood. They're also featuring my goblins and cave troll alongside Michael's book nook, so if you want to see even more of my painting on another channel, then go and check it out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.